If you've been scrolling through a dozen home gym bundles, watching video after video of people bragging about their all-in-one setups, and still feel stuck wondering which one actually delivers on the hype, this review is here to cut through the noise. I've spent the last few weeks assembling a small workout corner in my apartment, testing a few different combos, and I'm going to walk you through what it's like to live with the Speediance Gym Monster and AeroRow Rowing Bench Bundle. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's talk about the core problem most of us face: space. A typical apartment or even a modest house can have a spare corner that's barely big enough for a yoga mat, and suddenly you're asked to fit a bench, a rowing machine, a set of dumbbells, and a scale into that same footprint. The Speediance bundle promises limited space, unlimited possibility by folding the rowing bench into a weight bench, adding smart handles, and pairing everything with a body fat scale. The claim sounds great, but does the folding mechanism actually hold up when you're doing a heavy deadlift, or does the rowing motion feel compromised because the frame is shared with the bench? Those are the questions I tried to answer by actually using each component the way a regular home gym user would. The rowing portion, AeroRow, is the first piece you encounter. It's not a separate machine. The seat slides on a rail that, when locked, becomes a flat bench for presses and curls. In practice, the transition is quick, about 15 seconds to flip a lock and slide the seat forward so you can move from a 10-minute cardio warm-up to a set of bench presses without hopping off the floor. That fluidity is a real time saver if you're juggling a busy schedule. The resistance is listed as up to 220 pounds of adaptive resistance, which means the magnetic system automatically adjusts based on your pull speed. For a beginner who just wants a steady row, it feels smooth and forgiving. For a more seasoned rower, the resistance scales up enough to keep the heart rate in the target zone. What you'll notice, though, is that the flywheel is on the smaller side compared to a dedicated rowing machine, so the feel is a little less heavy-bottomed. If you're training for rowing competitions, you'll probably want a dedicated machine, but for general cardio and a bit of leg work, it does the job. Next, the weight bench portion. Because the bench folds into the same frame, the maximum bench press weight is limited by the same 220 pounds resistance ceiling. That means if you're comfortable benching 200 pounds with a barbell, you'll be fine, but you won't be able to load a full Olympic bar and plates. The bench itself tilts through a reasonable range: flat, incline, and a modest decline so you can hit chest, shoulder, and upper back work. I tested a few sets of 15 pounds dumbbells and a 45 pounds barbell, and the lock held firm, though the legs felt a bit wobbly when I pushed past 150 pounds on one side. The wobble isn't dangerous, it just makes you aware that the bench isn't built for heavy powerlifting. If you're looking for a versatile piece to handle moderate strength work and don't need to squat 300 pounds, it's a solid compromise. Now for the PowerGrip smart handles. These are essentially Bluetooth-enabled grip sensors that attach to the ends of the rowing bar and the dumbbells. In my experience, they work best when you're focused on tracking metric stroke count, grip force, and calories burned rather than as a substitute for actual grip strength equipment. The app syncs the data instantly, giving you a quick snapshot of your session. I liked that the handles also have a small LED display that shows elapsed time and row count, which is handy if you're in a small room where you can't stare at a phone screen. A minor downside is that the battery life is about 20 hours of active use, so you'll need to remember to charge them every couple of days if you're training daily. The final piece of the bundle is the Smart Body Fat Scale. It's a straightforward digital scale that measures weight, body fat percentage, muscle mass, and a few other metrics via bioelectrical impedance. The biggest advantage here is that it integrates with the same app that the handles use, so you can see your cardio data next to your body composition trends in one place. I noticed that the readings can swing a few points depending on hydration levels, which is typical for this technology, but the trend line over weeks is reliable enough to gauge progress. If you're the type who likes to see numbers every morning, it adds a nice data-driven layer to your routine. Who should buy this bundle? Think about two things: your space constraints and your training goals. If you live in a one-bedroom apartment, have a ceiling height of at least 8 feet, and you want a mix of cardio, light to moderate strength work, and basic body composition tracking all without buying 3 separate machines. This package hits the